Welcome back to another video here on the channel. So this afternoon we just came back with our Z06 from Lindgren Supercars. We were actually supposed to pick it up last night, but when I took it for a test drive, I thought I heard a little bit of a rattling sound at certain RPMs. When I took them for a ride with me to listen to it, we had a message pop up on the DIC, that is the Driver Information Center for you perverts, that said something about the traction, service traction system or something. So I left it there. I had him take a look at that. Turned out that the headers at just certain RPMs, when the engine twisted just right, well, they were rattling a little bit against one of the heat shields. So they took care of that. And then the code, when you put a cam in a car, you've got to suppress a lot of codes, particularly with the knock sensors, because the lope that a cam has will trip your knock sensors. It'll make the engine think that you're knocking when you're really not. So you got some codes that are suppressed, and then that is what caused that other code to come up, which took them a while to figure out because they didn't know why that was popping that code, because it had nothing to do with the traction system or anything. But anyway, that's all taken care of. We have no codes come up. We got no lights on the dash other than the ones that are supposed to be there. So we're in good shape. So I did do a video of a dyno run, but we didn't really get a good video. They did let me do the final run, which is kind of cool, and I did post that video, so go back and check that out. I got to drive on the dyno, which is unique for me. It was kind of cool. So our numbers came up to 553 horsepower and 514 pound-feet of torque. That was obviously our highest number. Now it's a far cry from the 600 that we were hoping for, but that is still about 90 horsepower over stock. I had them overlay the stock one, that's red, versus the current one, which is blue. So 89 horsepower is what we picked up on this one, which was the 464 horsepower run, which was our first run. We ended up on one of our stock runs, we got 468, so that would have been our highest one versus our highest after one. That would have only been 85 horsepower pickup. So we picked up between 85 and 90 horsepower to the wheels and about 90 pound-feet of torque. So not bad for what we did, I guess. I got a list of all the stuff that we're going to do, which I'm going to pop the hood. I'm going to show you. One of the things that we did was we got a custom license plate frame with Smok'n Jay's Garage on it. So I'm going to go pop the hood and you go check that out because that's cool. Now, that is a thing of beauty. I like the way it looks anyway. So I got my list here because I can't remember maybe all the things that we put in. But obviously you can see we have the MSD intake, and we've got the Haltech cold air intake with the beehive. We had the coil covers cut so that they would fit over this. And we put headers on it. We've got a custom made catch can. It's actually pretty unique. Lindgren Supercars makes this themselves, and it's huge. They said they only need to change it like once a year at most, and it's actually got a drain plug on the bottom versus just a little screw-on can that typically the catch cans have. Nice big breather on it. They engraved Z06 on it. That looks really nice. I think, like I said, headers already, and an X pipe versus the H pipe that we had. I also had them put a heat blanket over the top of the starter, because sometimes headers don't have the heat shields that your stock manifolds have, and they tend to get really warm, and sometimes I've heard of people having trouble with their starter. You've been running for a while, your starter gets really hot and it cranks over slow. So come around and check out this catch can, because I think that looks pretty badass. We also went down to a 160 degree thermostat versus the 190, I believe, that is stock. So we should run just a little bit cooler. We did an oil change at the same time, and we did spark plugs, because I'm pretty sure this had the stock spark plugs in it, and that's 12 years. So we did spark plugs too. So let me start it up for you. We're not going to do any real big revs while we're here at the house because, as you know, my neighbors aren't very friendly about that. But I'm going to start it up and we'll take a listen to it. Okay, I lied, we're gonna do 1 rev. That was about 4,000 RPM, so that was just a small rev. So I picked it up today. It's kind of rainy, kind of misty out, so we didn't really get to do any good pulls with it. We did a little bit, and it's definitely got a lot more power, but we are going to do a video very shortly of how it drives, how it pulls. Maybe we'll do some 0 to 60, maybe some quarter-mile times. We'll do stuff like that. But this is the car back, and I just got to drive it home. That's about all I did. Definitely feels different, and it definitely drives different. The cam is a little bit more aggressive than I originally thought it was going to be. 70 miles an hour, even 80 miles an hour on the highway. It only runs about 1400 RPMs, and it doesn't have a lot of power down there. It doesn't hit power. It's a mid-range cam, but it doesn't really hit much power until you get to about 2600 RPMs is where you start to feel it pull pretty good. So I'm like in town, I'm always a gear lower now than I used to be because it does surge a little bit, not bad. But we'll definitely do another video on that. We'll get some more information on how I feel about that once I get a little bit of time behind the wheel. So thanks for watching, and if you're watching the channel for the first time and you have not already, and you want to, boom, please subscribe.